This is breaking news from WMBD News.
Developing now, a federal indictment against the CEO of Pekin's readiness laboratories. Thanks for watching. I'm Matt Sheehan. WMBD obtained court documents filed Tuesday. Those show Aaron Rossi from Bloomington is facing 3 counts of making and subscribing a false tax return. Prosecutors claim he did not accurately claim his income on tax returns from 2015 to 2017. The charges are not affiliated with readiness in any way. We reached out to both Rossi and the laboratory he owns. We received a very brief statement saying, quote, one of Aaron Rossi's attorneys, David Rossi, said this is a personal matter and they have no comment, end quote. His first appearance in court is scheduled for April 7th. You can read the full indictment right now on our website, ciproud.com. From our Capitol newsroom, legislators are honoring fallen Champaign police officer Chris Oberheim and former state trooper Todd Hannikin in a special way. They will both have highways named after them. The highway dedicated to Officer Oberheim will be Southside Drive in Decatur from US 51 to Illinois 48. Oberheim was born in Decatur. That's where he started his career in law enforcement. A portion of Illinois 121 from the Macon-Moultrie County line to the intersection of Illinois 121 and US 36, which passes through Mount Zion in Long Creek, will be dedicated to Trooper Hannikin. Both House resolutions were passed without opposition. In an update, we now know the name of the person killed in a crash near Chenoa on Monday. The McLean County coroner says 44-year-old Elsie Sizer had multiple blunt injuries. The crash happened on Route 24 near 2480 East Road. Illinois State Police investigators say Sizer drove into oncoming traffic when she crashed into a semi and died. The toxicology testing is pending. The incident still under investigation. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed Congress this morning. It's part of his ongoing public campaign to rally world support for his country and condemnation of its aggressor, Russia. Skylar Henry takes a look at the former actor turned fearless leader.
Live streaming into the U.S. Capitol in his now trademark military T-shirt, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky rallied support from U.S. lawmakers for his country's defense against the crushing Russian invasion.
I'm almost 45 years old. Today my age stopped when the hearts of more than 100 children stopped beating.
Being hailed as a modern-day Winston Churchill, Zelensky has become a symbol of resilience and reassurance for his people, posting videos on social media and refusing to buckle. Zelensky is no stranger to an audience. He started out as a stand-up comedian, going on to make movies. He won his country's Dancing with the Stars and voiced the Ukrainian version of Paddington Bear. Zelensky also created, produced, and starred in a hit comedy series about a high school teacher who becomes president. Then, at age 41, he actually became president, winning more than 70% of the vote. Last year, CBS News cameras went with Zelensky to the front lines, where Ukrainian troops have been battling Russian separatists for years, and also visited his elderly parents.
Do you prefer politics or comedy?
Comedy, his father said, saying he worried too much about his only child. But Zelensky persists on the world stage, his latest role, David to Vladimir Putin's Goliath.
Thank you for your support.
Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
We turn now to a developing story. Following a deadly COVID outbreak in 2020, the LaSalle County Veterans Home and state of Illinois now face more than 24 wrongful death lawsuits. The outbreak killed 36 veterans in November of 2020. The families of 26 of those veterans say negligence and carelessness caused their deaths. The lawsuit claimed the VA never developed a comprehensive COVID plan and failed to follow the most basic protocols. This comes nearly 1 year after a state watchdog report blamed LaSalle and the Illinois Veterans Affairs Department for, quote, gross mismanagement. The lawsuit could cost the state millions.
I think that is the hardest, is knowing that he suffered for so long to breathe and knowing that he was alone. These men didn't deserve to die alone. They were there to be taken care of.
The governor's office released a statement saying in part the state took immediate action to hold those accountable, including the appointment of a new head for the VA department. A bill making daylight saving time permanent passed unanimously in the Senate. The bill is called the Sunshine Protection Act. If signed into law by President Joe Biden, Americans would no longer need to change their clocks twice a year. States are not required to follow daylight saving time. Hawaii and Arizona do not observe it. In a follow-up, 5 Peoria public schools getting new names, 3 named after Peoria trailblazers. Peoria Public School Board President Gregory Wilson spearheaded the proposal after some schools were said to have names with racist ideals. But now those schools will be named after Harold B. Dawson, Jr., Annie Jo Gordon, and Elise Ford Allen. 3 people in the Peoria community who have all passed away within the last 15 years will now have their names posted on schools come fall. State Representative Jahan Gordon Booth tells WMBD having a school named after her mother is an honor. She says changing these school names will allow the students to dream bigger.
The young people in this community that walk into those doors and attend those schools, they not only can dream to be like the folks that were that those schools were named after, they can surpass them.
With the school population carrying 78% of black and brown students, the board says it's working to incorporate diversity for all its students in the school names. Board President Gregory Wilson also says the cost of the new names is still up in the air. WMBD is your local election headquarters. 14 incumbents and 21 newcomers are vying for 20 seats for McLean County Board this year. Each district has 2 seats. Usually the races are staggered. McLean County Clerk Kathy Michael tells WMBD all board seats are up for grabs this year because of redistricting. County Clerk, Treasurer, and Sheriff positions are also up for election. She says Monday was very busy with last-minute filings, adding there's a lot of excitement for this election cycle.
It was very pleasant to see all Republicans and Democrats and Libertarians in the same room and all smiling and getting along for now. And we hope that that will last for the whole rest of the cycle. Just good people wanting to represent their community. So it was a really busy time and it was a fun day.
She says McLean County spent $1 million on new voting machines because the old ones needed replacement. They are in the process of training 500 election judges to use them. And as the statewide filing period wrapped up, some candidates waited until the last minute to try and get their names on the ballots. And there's a strategic reason for that. When filing in the last hour, which was between 4 and 5 p.m. Monday, those candidates will now be placed in a lottery to not be first on the ballot, but last. Jesse Sullivan and Max Solomon, both Republican gubernatorial candidates, filed their petitions in the last hour. WMBD spoke to each candidate yesterday morning to hear what's next for them.
Another thing that I would do if I'm able to do it by executive order would be to ban CRT in the state of Illinois and to ban CSE, the sexualizing of our kids in public schools.
Right now you can retire, the next day you can be in the legislature lobbying your friends from before, and it's not right. And so we want to make the strongest ethics reform in the history of the state of Illinois.
WMBD also reached out to Democratic gubernatorial candidate Beverly Miles for an interview. She did not respond. But Monday morning, Miles did file. If her petitions hold up, she will challenge Governor J.B. Pritzker in the primary in June. In national news, Washington, D.C. police arrested a suspect in the shootings of homeless people asleep on the streets of the nation's capital and New York City. Police say 30-year-old Gerald Brevard shot at least 3 homeless men in D.C. earlier this month. One of them died. It's believed the suspect then traveled to New York and shot 2 homeless men there.